Hello, welcome to the news on NTA International. I'm Lami Ali. Bringing the news alongside me is the sign language interpreter, Shegun Ajayi. Let's begin with the leading stories. President Bola Tinubu to visit Benue State over killings. And the clock ticks towards West Africa Economic Summit. Also on the news, stakeholders mark International Day of African Child with concerns over poor funding for education. President Bola Tinubu says he remains committed to accelerating growth, delivery of reliable infrastructure, and development of human capacity for the overall prosperity of Nigeria. The president renewed his commitment as he inaugurated 4 loops of the Greater Abuja water supply network of the Federal Capital Territory. State House correspondent Ms. Bowden Wahab reports.
Loops 1, 2, 5 and 6 of a Greater Abuja water supply network are coming to complement Loops 3 and 4, which capacities are now far below the requirements of Abuja residents. This project commenced in 2017 in partnership with the People's Republic of China, got new vigor and now delivered by the current administration. With this, residents in 50 more districts of the Federal Capital Territory would now get access to portable water supply.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are not here today merely to lay the pipes. We are laying the groundwork for healthier families, stronger communities, and a more productive city.
President Tinubu says this is not just a mere developmental goal, but also building blocks for dignity and prosperity as his renewed hope agenda prioritizes inclusivity and infrastructure renewal across the country.
When we speak of renewed hope agenda, this is what we mean. Tangible, people-focused projects that improve the daily lives of ordinary Nigerians. Water to drink, to clean, to grow, to build. That is a real project.
The administration assures that more water supply projects are underway to ensure that no part of the territory is left out.
We almost completed with the procurement process to give water to Buhari, give water to Kubwa, give water to Karu and some of the communities. So we are not only providing water to the city, we are also providing water to the satellite town.
The completion of this important project, Your Excellency, sir, clearly demonstrates that under your able leadership, no community will be left behind in terms of national development. We say thank you, sir.
As President Bola Tinubu sues for peace and harmony amongst the people of Benue State and other parts of the country, the gathering observed a minute silence for the lives lost in the recent killings in Benue State.
May their souls and the souls of the faithful departed rest in peace. Thank you, sir.
In Abuja, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu has rescheduled his official visit to Kaduna State. Instead, he will travel to Benue State on Wednesday, June 18, 2025, as part of renewed efforts to foster peace and address the persistent conflict affecting communities in the state. The president's visit aims to assess firsthand the recurring crisis that has claimed numerous lives and caused significant destruction. During his stay, President Tinubu will meet with all stakeholders, including traditional rulers, political, religious, community leaders, and youth groups, to seek lasting solutions to the hostilities. In preparation for the visit, President Tinubu has already dispatched the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the Inspector General of Police, heads of intelligence agencies, the National Security Advisor, and the Chairman of the Senate and House Defense Committees to Benue State. The President is expected to hold a town hall meeting with all stakeholders during the visit. Now, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, says the continued bloodletting and mindless killings across Benue State are both disheartening and utterly condemnable. In a statement in Abuja, the SGF, while commiserating with Yelewata communities, says the latest reprehensible act, one among so many, is not merely a tragedy for Benue, it is a deep wound to the soul of our nation. These dastardly acts are not restricted to Benue State alone. Plateau and Zamfara states also suffer the same fate. These killings are economic deterministic, not religious-driven. He called on all sons and daughters of Benue, our leaders, traditional institutions, and key stakeholders to come together now urgently to forge a path towards lasting peace and security. He expressed profound appreciation to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his swift directive for a full security operation to rid Benue of these killers and bring the perpetrators to justice. Now, President Bola Tinubu has called for collective action and regional cooperation among African countries in actualizing transformative developments on the continent. Represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, the President gave the charge when he declared open the 4th annual meeting of the Africa Sovereign Investors Forum hosted by the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila brings us the details.
Utilization of sovereign wealth fund is crucial in ongoing efforts to close the infrastructure gap, build climate change resilience, and create job opportunities for the growing youth population on the African continent. This forum, with the theme Leveraging African Sovereign Wealth Funds to Mobilize Global Capital for Transformative Development in Africa, is holding at a time the world is witnessing rapid transformation and is under pressure to think outside the box. For Africa, the Nigerian leader said it is time to position the continent to seize the opportunities rooted in the wave of global change.
I'm pleased to note that the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority, as a founding member of ASIP, has taken an active role in advancing this vision. I commend its leadership in mobilizing like-minded African funds and international partners to design long-term, impactful investment solutions. The world is watching Africa. We can either build a future where African capital catalyzes and drives African development, or resign to a future where our resources are underutilized and our ambitions underachieved. The choice is actually ours. Let us choose wisely. Let us choose collaboration. Let us choose transformation.
He applauded the formal launch of the ASIF investment platform, saying it is a strategic initiative that deepens collaboration among Africa's sovereign wealth funds.
Let us bear ASIF's rallying cry in mind, which is that the true value of our efforts lies not only in the capital we attract, but more importantly in the lives that we impact and the opportunities we create for future generations.
In just 3 years, we have made significant strides, laying some institutional foundation of the forum, advancing peer dialogues, elevating our strategic visibility, and enhancing our global positioning.
Let us unite and let us think of this generation and generations yet to be born through creation of sustainable sovereign funds that will be Africa-wide. Let us make Africa great again, because he was once great. Only ask Mansa Musa if you can commune with him.
My view is that by making these changes that we can hope to bring the power of Africa's sovereign wealth to bear on delivering economic prosperity.
The forum is also to remind African leaders to leverage huge resources domiciled on the continent to invest in the future by investing more within the continent. In Abuja, Brahman Jibrila, NTA News.
Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar, has urged West African leaders to prioritize homegrown solutions private sector engagements and resource mobilization to drive regional developments. The minister's remarks came at a media parley. He said the inaugural West Africa Economic Summit will focus on shaping the region's future, an initiative of President Bola Tinubu in his capacity as ECOWAS chairman, scheduled for June 20 to 21st in Abuja. Garba Ta'ala reports.
The invitation extends not just to ECOWAS and ECOWAS states, but indeed to all states, businesses, private sector.
Owing to the significance of the forthcoming West Africa Economic Summit, Foreign Affairs Minister Yusuf Tuga disclosed that President Tinubu's special envoy and the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Ojukwu, have conducted diplomatic shuttles to secure confirmed participation from regional leaders. He also stressed the urgency of the intra-regional collaboration amid growing global uncertainties.
We recognized SMEs, that's small and medium enterprises. When we talk about small and medium enterprises, we're not talking about just big people or government or big business. No, it's the small man, it's the small entrepreneur, it's the small trader.
Tuga confirmed that all necessary arrangements have been finalized, including high-level meetings among West African leaders, art and technology exhibitions showcasing regional innovation, business roundtables to boost investment, and reforms in the African Continental Free Trade Area to enhance inter-trade among ECOWAS member states. The summit will also feature international partners to develop actionable strategies for deeper regional integration. In Abuja, Garba Muhammad Atala, NTA News.
ECOWAS is undertaking a mid-term evaluation of the implementation of the decisions, programs and activities of its institutions. During the 37th meeting of the Administration and Finance Committee in Abuja, emphasis was on how to sustain funding for critical projects in the face of dwindling resources. Calvin Iwunwayi reports.
A central agenda at this meeting is the financial implications arising from the exit of 3 of its members, with the vacancies now created from the withdrawal of their citizens from ECOWAS institutions. Another issue is the reduction in international funding from development partners, which is affecting implementation of critical interventions and programs across member states. As custodian of the community finances and advisors, these officials will in the next 3 days evaluate ECOWAS' financial situation and come up with creative ways to sustain the goals of regional integration and free trade.
As finance and administrative experts, please put up your creative and thinking mind to see how we can intensify effective utilization of our resources internally within the institutions, but also to have a contingency strategy of doing away with any foreign development assistance that we relied upon.
On community level, member states are expected to realize the need to comply with the protocol, especially that the 3 members of countries of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have withdrawn their membership of ECOWAS. By so doing, it is not only going to send a strong positive signal to analysts and observers on the prospects and future of ECOWAS, but also enable the regional body to carry out its programs, including those that have a direct impact on the lives of the citizens of the community.
The recommendations from this meeting are expected to be presented to the Council of Ministers, which will take a look at the various proposals in ensuring that ECOWAS remains financially stable to meet its obligations and objectives. In Abuja, Kelvin Iwunwayi, NTA News.
You're watching news at 7 from our studios in Abuja. We take a break. Come back. In commemoration of the International Day of the African Child, stakeholders have urged governments to take a drastic action in investing in the lives of children. This year's theme, Planning and Budgeting for Children's Rights, Progress since 2010, is being used by stakeholders to remind society Thus, the future rests on how well children are planned and budgeted for. They insisted that budgeting for children is not optional, maintaining that the government must scale up allocations for education, health, and child protection. The International Day of the African Child is held annually to commemorate the Soweto Students' Uprising in South Africa on June 16, 1976, when thousands of black students protested against the poor quality of their education and demanded to be taught in their own language. Now, to continue the conversation on the Day of the African Child, we have with us in the studio the founder of Caleb Danladi Foundation, Mr. Caleb Danladi himself, a social development advocate. You're welcome to our studios.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, let's begin by taking a look at the theme for this year, Planning and Budgeting for Children's Rights, Progress since 2010. Can you give us your perspective?
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me to this program. Today is a significant day for African child. It's not only a day for us to remember our students that passed away in 1976 in Soweto, but it's a call for action for leaders and policymakers and advocates to ensure that child rights are being taken for serious. So as we celebrate this African Day of Child, in Nigeria, I think significant effort have been made in terms of budget from 2010 till today. If you look at the significant events that have happened, we have to look at the Child Rights Act, which about 30 states have implemented it. It shows that the country has made a giant step. We also have to look at the National School Feeding Program. That's a National Child Home Cell Program, which have been done. About 10 billion children have been fed annually, which is a significant step towards budgeting. And also have to look at significant strides that have been made also to reduce the number of out-of-school children, even though it's a serious challenge. But in my own opinion, a lot has been done from the government in terms of budget, in terms of also increasing the participation of child rights, but more needs to be done, especially in the issue of funding. There's need to increase funding in terms of education. When you look at the budget for education, which is part of where the children falls, is about 7.03%, which is below the threshold for the UNESCO 15 to 20%. So there is need to increase funding in that aspect.
Now, the area of protecting the rights of children's right to education is very, very significant. You mentioned about the efforts of government in the provision of funding. Now, providing funds is one thing, getting the children to the classrooms is another. What role can all stakeholders play in this aspect?
Okay, stakeholders have a critical role to play when it comes to the issue of child rights, particularly the issue of out-of-school children. It calls for a collective collaboration. First of all, from the government must also do more in terms of funding to increase funding of education. When it comes to stakeholders like community leaders, they need to do more by creating awareness about the importance of education, because sometimes these education materials and school are being built, but the children are not going to school, and one of the reasons why they are not going is because there is no motivation. So the community leaders have a critical role to play to ensure that they raise awareness among parents, among religious leaders, among traditional leaders about the important aspect of schools. In terms of other stakeholders like non-governmental organizations, they also have a critical role to play by collaborating with government efforts. A lot has been done. In the country, we have a lot of NGOs that have been done that. The Tony Elemelu Foundation have done that, if you can see.
So now what you're saying leads us to our final question now. As a wrap-up, you have a foundation that is working with children. Now, what area is it working on, especially when we're talking about underprivileged children to better their lives?
Okay, our foundation has been working on different aspects to better the life of children. One of the flagship programs that is ongoing now is about STEM for rural children. We have identified that innovation, technology are critical key for drivers of economic growth and sustainable development. So what the foundation is doing now is to be able to bring in this STEM to rural areas which have limited opportunity for technology. And what we do, we identify pupils between the age of 6 to the age of 13. And we try to enroll them in different STEM programs. And one of the enrollment we do is to teach them how to use computers, robots, coding. And from the time we have started, we have already seen a significant effort. Before we start, a couple of them cannot use computer, but by now they have been able to use computers, which is a significant effort. Another aspect that we are also working on is our back to school project, which we plan to reintegrate out of school children back to classroom. What we do is to provide them with mentorship support, financial support. We provide them with textbook and exercise book. We also have to mentor them to understand the importance of education, because education is the key.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Daladi. We
thank you for having me.
Don't have much time. We have so many other stories. We thank you for sharing your thoughts with us on the International Day of the African Child.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Now, strong pitches for equitable trade and deeper economic engagements as the coordinators meeting of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation (FOCAC) and the concurrent China-Africa Economic and Trade Expo as Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tugar converses for Nigeria. NTA's diplomatic correspondent Patricia Isamiluba reports on how Nigeria is leading critical conversations that could shape the next phase of Africa-China ties.
In the vibrant city of Chansa, where banners of unity drop the skyline and trade halls buzzing with continental ambition, Nigeria took center stage, calling for a reset in how Africa and China do business. The convention hall, full of African foreign ministers, China's top diplomats, and global observers, Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tugar emphasized that the future of this cooperation must be built on mutual prosperity. He called for concrete policies that ensure more production happens on African soil and not just in theory, but in practice.
Of course, critical minerals and mining, we want to see more domestication of the processes, the refining. We want to see a domestication of value addition on the supply and value chain.
China-backed projects like the Lagos-Ibadan Railway and the Zungeru hydropower plant are not just milestones, but templates for how development should be measured by the value left behind, not just the infrastructure built.
Critical minerals, agriculture, these are all areas that we live. Of course, there are commercial agreements and private sector deals that are going on to do with satellite and satellite technology. Of course, AI is another area that we're negotiating on. We want to see more benefits. We don't want to miss out.
Nigeria's message wasn't delivered in isolation, as in the earlier official opening of FOCAC meeting, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi held a series of sideline consultations with African delegates, including Nigeria.
China will continue to deepen trust, enhance development cooperation, and support Africa's path to modernization through industrial partnerships, digital trade, and sustainable infrastructure.
These high-level diplomatic talks between the Chinese minister and African foreign ministers focused on not just the pledges made, but how to turn them into tangible results, especially ahead of the next FOCAC summit in 2026. Meanwhile, at the parallel China-Africa Economic and Trade Expo, deals were signed, partnerships were announced, and African countries, including Nigeria, showcased investment opportunities in sectors ranging from agriculture to technology and renewable energy. For Nigeria, however, the takeaway from Chansa is clear. Africa no longer seeks aid, but equitable opportunity. And as conversations shift from development dependency to value-driven diplomacy, Nigeria is demanding a seat not just at the table, but in the factory, on the data grid, and across the supply chain. The China-Africa partnership is one that keeps opening up for more concrete collaboration, which is built on trust, on the shared future under the Belt and Road Initiative. From Chansa, Hunan Province, Patricia Esamiluba reporting.
And Tuesday's weather forecast is next. That's the news at this time. We thank you for being a part of it. I'm Lami Ali. Shegun Ajayi has been the sign language interpreter. Do have a good evening.